Time is 4:01. Call to order the Board of Health meeting for January 11th. I'll go to roll call. Arlene Diaz,
Yes.
Kevin Perkins,
Here.
and I'm here also. First order of business would be to approve the minutes of December 14th. If everyone had a chance to read them.
Yes. I'll make the motion that we accept the minutes of the December 14th meeting.
I'll second that motion. Dennis, this is Kevin.
And we'll go to roll call. Arlene,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
and I'm a yes also. Next up, we need a meeting date for next month. If Teresa has it.
Yep, so 4 weeks is February 8th. If you want to go out the fifth week, it's February 15th, whichever works best for you guys.
Which is school closing.
That's the following week. That's the week of the 21st.
Okay.
So it depends. You want to do 4 weeks or 5 weeks?
Any input?
I'm looking to see the four weeks you said is the 8th,
Correct.
and what's 5 weeks?
The 15th. It might be better to do the 15th only because the following March has 5 Tuesdays. So,
Yep. Okay.
do you know what I mean?
That makes sense then. Yeah, that makes sense.
So does the 15th work for you, Kevin?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not going to be around the 18th, but I'll be around the 15th. That's fine.
Okay, Dennis, that works for you?
Very good. Yep.
So we'll do the
Yep,
15th.
and it works for me. Yep.
All right. Next up, we have the well permit application.
This
We
was
got-
to discuss, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, I looked at it today, and the question is on the bylaw, not the application. I have to assume, because nowhere on the application does it mention that you have to pay your taxes and all those things have to be up to date. That's all in the bylaw.
Correct.
We got, we got responses from both the treasurer and from the Concom.
Yeah.
And, the treasurer, like you said, Arlene, according to the bylaw, feels it's part of her job, as stated by the bylaw. And Concom would like to remain as a voice in the process.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So it's not really the application.
yeah, it's what we were looking for, or what Mr. Diaz was looking for, was some way to streamline it. And those were the two, people that he felt that it was being redundant and it didn't need to go in front of them.
Yeah, and I'm sure it was placed that way, Dennis, because we needed redundancy at some point. I'm sure
Right.
that's why it became a bylaw.
Right.
Dennis,
So-
one thing I would point out, so on the well application, I understand we have the treasurer collector sign off, conservation sign off, and I'm fine with that. One thing I would like to point out that, similar to, Title V compliance systems, if a system is completely compliant, it's not requesting a variance or a waiver. We allow the health agent to sign off on that, where we're meeting once a month, and to hold someone up and make them wait for a Board of Health meeting to approve a well permit that meets all DEP or our regulations, I think that's a little over the top. I think that to streamline that, to make it possible that the health agent has the authority to sign off on a well application, granted it's signed off by the treasurer, taxes are paid on the property, and it's signed off conservation, it's not within their jurisdiction. I think that would help streamline it, and I don't see an issue with that.
That
So
wasn't the question, though, was it, Kevin?
No, well, the question is really just concerning that the well application is such a lengthy process, that I think that is a suggestion from me, really, to just get it more streamlined, rather than
Okay,
someone having to go through and jump through all these hoops, and then they have to wait and get on our agenda for us to approve a well install that meets DEP regulations.
Right, but that wasn't the question that we were asked about this. That
I know
wasn't
that
the
was
initial
one of the,
question.
I know that was
Okay.
one of the concerns brought up by Mr. Diaz, was that the
Oh.
process was not user-friendly. And that
Oh.
is a suggestion that I have to make it more user-friendly.
I don't
So
know.
that
The only,
All
go ahead.
that would involve
Okay.
giving the health agent more authority.
Similar to a Title V install, Dennis, that it goes out for review, it's approved. We don't see those. We only see the ones that request variances or waivers because they're in full compliance. The system
got it.
design is in full compliance. So if it's a well design that's in full compliance also, I think that should be also have the ability that it can be approved by the health agent, that they can sign off on it. It doesn't need to wait to come in front of the board for us to approve it.
Right.
Unless they weren't meeting full compliance and they're requesting some sort of a waiver or something. But I think that's something that maybe we could start doing going forward, because I think that will streamline the process a little more for an applicant.
I understand. Yep. It makes sense. Makes sense.
Okay.
Eileen,
so
how do you
again,
feel about
Well, I'm looking at the well application, and as long as they follow the stuff in the bottom where it says attach the septic and that you have the right setbacks and that I don't have a problem with that at all. As long as that, especially that highlighted area at the end of the application, is followed. We know where
Right,
the
that's
well
my
is
point,
located.
Arlene, is they're meeting,
Yeah.
they're meeting the regulations. And so why do they need to come in front of us, excuse me? Why do they need to come in front of us when they're fully compliant with an application?
No.
Why do they have to wait
No.
30 days on a calendar or whatever it is to sit in front of us just for us to approve something that's fully compliant?
Yeah. No, I don't have a problem with that.
I don't have a problem with that either.
Can you do a vote?
Yes, I'll entertain a motion to give the health agent additional authority to approve well permits that don't have any complications with setbacks or any other issues.
Yeah, fully compliant to our regulations and or DEP regulations.
Right.
Are you making that a motion?
Yes.
Kevin?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was asking Kevin.
Yeah, I'd
was
like you to
just-
amend that. Yeah, I'd like you to amend that to that motion, and I'll make that motion.
All right. And I will second that.
And we'll go to vote on that, Arlene?
Yeah.
Kevin?
Yes.
And I'm a yes also. I think that's a good move. I believe that is. All right, next up is the town report. If everyone had a chance to go over the report that Teresa gave us.
Yeah.
The only thing I changed, I made a slight change because I looked up how many clinics we did last year, and I just changed it to, instead of several clinics, I put in, we did 7 clinics last year. So that was
Okay.
the only change I made.
If everyone had a chance to review it, I'll entertain a motion to accept it.
I'll make a motion that we accept the 2021 town report.
Second that motion, Kevin.
And we'll go to roll call, Arlene.
Yeah.
Kevin,
Yes.
and I'm a yes also. Next up would be COVID protocols.
Jill's coming, hang on.
Okay.
Most of you are aware, I was at the last selectmen's meeting, and the selectmen's meeting, they're asking the Board of Health to put in some place some COVID protocols, such as masks while in the town hall, which they put in place that night. They'd like the Board of Health to reaffirm that, plus other items to protect the employees of the town hall and the public. A lot of discussion has been on masking in public places. That conversation is going on in probably 10 towns, and tonight it's still going on with a bunch of towns. A couple of towns met today, and it's still unsure exactly what they want to do. I think everybody's waiting for the one town to make that move. Plymouth did make the move. They are requiring masks in all public places, and they had a meeting last week to reaffirm that because they had such pushback for it, and they reaffirmed that in public places. I'm presenting that to the board if that's a suggestion that we should do. I think the selectmen are also asking for something more than what we have in place now. And as far as I can see, that's probably the only thing. I mean, we have a lot of cases. The cases are up there, no question about it. Been to a few businesses, some different complaints from employees and businesses, and it's all got to do with, things that people don't want to do. People don't want to mask. There are complaints about vaccination, which I do not do anything about that. I mean, that's a business deal, but you do have employees complaining about working with people that aren't vaccinated, but we have no call over that whatsoever. But, people are complaining about all kinds of different things right now. But the only thing I see that's, potentially, helpful to anybody is the masking in public places. I know there's pushback on that, but you also have to, just vote on the, mask while in the town hall. That is mandatory now by the selectmen. Any feedback? I mean, how people feel about it? I mean, I think that's the only thing that can take place right now as far as prevention.
Jill, are a lot of places requiring a mask for you to enter their businesses?
No, they aren't, but some of the employees, because a lot of the businesses, I don't know if you realize, you drive around, some of them had to curtail their operations due to so many employees being, infected by COVID, whatever you want to call it. And it's all the businesses that serve the public, and that's where I've got a complaint that, I've had one woman say, look, you make us protect us from, protect the public from us, but what about protecting us from the public? So, I mean, it's a tough call right now. You get the vaccinations, and I mean, it's, I don't know. I know that a lot of towns have not made the decision. I haven't heard from what happened in Whitman today. Whitman was definitely going to make a decision. I haven't heard exactly what they did do, but that's what's out there. I mean, what else can you do?
I know there's a lot of places that get a lot of people are out sick because one person came in with COVID and then everybody got it.
Right.
Yep.
That's what's happened with some of the businesses in town. We have these, 2 or 3 shifts of people, and younger people, and you have people unvaccinated, vaccinated. So it's spreading. To pinpoint what is it spreading it, no, we haven't been able to do that in 2 years. But we were one of the first towns after Plymouth 2 years ago to institute a mask mandate. Myself, I'm in favor, but I do have questions about it myself also because I'm out there every day. I mean, is it working? I know the state is not going to do anything. They're not going to create any mandates or anything. I believe it's headed for herd immunity. I think it's a decision you got to think clearly about what we want to do.
Would you consider doing something for like 2 or 3 months to get us passed?
I think that would to make a move. That would probably be the best thing. For like say 3 months, 90 days. See what happens.
Right. So would you put something in place that would go to mid-April, or we're almost mid-January now? So
I got a couple of questions. I got a couple of questions regarding all this. So I mean, without the actual legal speak of what's on the boxes of the surgical mask and stuff, I mean, it says, to be blunt, it says, it does not prevent or protect you against viruses such as COVID-19. We're still under emergency use authorization of vaccines and whatnot. I mean, can we even mandate masks where it's under emergency use only? Stuff like this?
The masks are not, the vaccines are under emergency use. The masks are not.
But they're not, the issue, Eileen, is are they approved and certified to protect against COVID-19?
They're telling people now to double mask. And what you're trying to protect is when you're talking, you've got liquid coming out of your mouth. If you have a mask on, irregardless of what kind of mask, except for the cloths are not really helpful, it is still going to stop that projectile from going to someone else, as opposed to speaking to that person and not having anything covering you. It is still better to have a single mask, but right now they're telling people to double up with those surgical masks. If you don't have an N95, double up on your surgical mask, and it fits people better, or people are more comfortable in them, but you still need to stop the spread. You need to wear a mask. I mean,
the world topic, Eileen. Yeah,
Huh?
the world topic everyone refers to as COVID-19, I think has just run its course on public health and it's really taken a turn into politics. I mean, it's been 2 years, following the guidance of the governor, the CDC, the president, and the problem still exists. Vaccination, masks are all available to people who want to use them.
But not everybody
Um,
uses them.
but they're available for people to use them that wish to use them. I mean, I just don't feel comfortable taking a vote in support of telling the residents and patrons in Hanson how to live their lives. People have options. It's not this board's decision to make the decisions for all these people. I mean, do
But
we
we're
create,
making health
do we create,
decisions. We're not
Arlene,
making political
do we
decisions.
create mandates and ban smoking in public areas, vaping, alcohol consumption, contact sports, swimming pools, trampolines, that kind of stuff? These are all items with potential for danger. I mean, the solution
But-
shouldn't be worse than the problem. And I mean, I don't feel comfortable taking a vote to do that. So, I mean, I'd
So
like to
some
make a
of the
motion that
things
we
you
table the
mentioned-
discussion indefinitely.
Some of the stuff you mentioned, we have made rules about not smoking inside and all of that stuff.
Inside,
This
Arlene,
is
inside.
tech-
But I'm just saying, there's
Huh?
all these other hazards in the world. I mean, I think it's just time people just need to wake up a little bit and really see what's going on. I mean, it's clear that we've been doing this for 2 years. We've been playing this game, and no one's shown me or proven to me that it's working. So I'm not going to support a vote to enforce something that I don't know works and tell people how they need to live their lives. The protection is available to people that want to use it. And if they want to use it, they can use it. They can double up, they can triple up on their masks. But I'm not going to take a vote of support to tell every other resident in Hanson, every patron in Hanson, that they need to put a mask on. I'm not going to do that.
Gil, where are you talking about? You're talking about people being out in public, inside a store or a business, correct?
Yes.
You're not saying that they have to wake up in the morning and slap a mask on and
No,
keep it on all day.
But I'm saying, Eileen, if I want to walk into Shaw's and buy groceries, I can do that. I'm not going to put on a mask if I don't feel I need to wear a mask. If someone else doesn't feel comfortable, they have the option that they can go get another booster shot, or they have the option they can double up on their masks. So everyone has protection available to them, and they have that option. And to mandate every single person in the town of Hanson to be able to walk into a business to do that. And like I said, I feel this is just, we've taken a terrible turn into politics with this whole COVID-19 thing. And I'm not going to tell people how they need to live their lives. If people don't feel comfortable, they have options. And I'm not going to tell them what their options have to be and what they need to do. They have options. They can choose on their own.
Our job as the Board of Health is to protect the citizens of Hanson.
And there's no mandate
in place.
and there's no mandate from the governor. If there's a mandate from the governor, I'll consider it. I'm not going to act on my own to create a law essentially in the town of Hanson. I'm not.
That's fine. That's fine. That's your opinion.
That to me is negligence. That to me is just, if we're getting a statewide mandate that the governor comes down tomorrow and says masks are required, then I guess we have to accept it, or we have to at least acknowledge it. But I'm not going to, on my own, create a law in the town of Hanson to go along with some of these other towns that are considering it.
Well, first, that's fine. That's fine. You've made your point clear. You're not interested in doing that. But that doesn't mean that there are lots of other places other than the state not mandating it that have decided, businesses that have decided that they don't want unmasked people.
And that's
in
okay.
their
I think if a business wants to make a regulation that you need a mask to come in, that's a different battle that they can pick with their patrons. And that's a different battle of whether people want to support that. But I'm not going to sit here and tell every single person in the town of Hanson, if you come into this town, you need to put a mask on to go into Shaw's, or you need to put a mask on to go into CVS. If that business wants to make that call and make that decision saying, we will not serve you, you cannot come in without a mask, that's up to them as a business decision to require that. But for me to require that anything in the town of Hanson, you're required to, I do not support that whatsoever.
Okay, that's your opinion. Dennis, what do you think?
I'm of the opinion that I like to err on the side of caution. I think
I
masks are needed. I think they're needed.
Yep.
Can I say
Uh,
something?
Sure, go ahead.
So this whole COVID thing, it's classified as a communicable disease. And, the Board of Health, traces this, investigate communicable diseases, and I feel they put a time limit on this, do it, put a time limit on it, and that shows that, we're putting our best foot forward and trying to do something about this. I
A
know
time
that-
limit, we've had 2 years on it, Gil.
Oh, I've been dealing with this for 2 years.
We've been doing this for 2 years.
So I don't
And we're gonna
understand,
continue
I
to
don't
deal with it.
understand what the 2-year period has to do, they're fighting a fucking disease, excuse me, but I don't understand why you have to put a time limit on the effectiveness of the procedure. I don't understand that. It's a new venue for everyone. It's a new strain, new variations.
Is
I don't,
anybody, are we allowed to chime in? I'm just curious because I have a double master's in nursing.
Go ahead.
And
Who
I
are
just
you?
want to say, here's the bottom line.
What's your name?
who are you?
It's right up there, Diana Ploss.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Masks, no matter what anybody says, no matter how you feel, masks, if you wear 19,000 of them, they do not stop the spread of a virus. The virus is when you are expelling viral particles just by speaking. The pores on these masks are 4 times larger, at least 4 times larger than the actual COVID-19 molecule. So people can wear masks, they can put the whole box on their face. It will not stop these. Absolutely will.
Mask.
Whether it's a surgical mask or if you wear a piece of cloth. Now, if you want to get into the N19s or the N95s or the K95s, those are supposed to be fit tested, and they are very uncomfortable to wear. They're contraindicated in people who have heart and lung conditions, people who have asthma, people who have anxiety. Forcing these on people opens up the town of Hanson to an enormous liability. And
We're
the
not forcing
last
people
thing,
to wear.
the
We're not
last thing I'm going to
forcing
say
people-
is the masks are still under emergency use authorization. Look it up. Everything's under emergency use authorization. The testing, the masks, and all 3 of the jabs, all under emergency use authorization. Thank you for your time. I'm still listening.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, we know where no one has mentioned anybody being forced to wear an N95. We're talking about masks in general. So
I know, but there's
I'm
no
sorry.
mask. There's no mask that's going to prevent the spread of a virus. Zero masks, none. 0. Look up all the studies. Go to NIH, go
I
to the
know.
CDC.
I've already been
They
spin
don't
tested
work.
my N95. So
They don't work. So why mandate something that doesn't work? You're
All right.
lying to people. That's all I'm saying.
okay, Dennis.
Yes.
Dennis, how do you feel about maybe tabling this until next meeting when maybe we can get some more feedback on it?
I'd like that.
So I'll make a motion
I-
that we table discussion on a mask mandate in the town of Hanson.
Yeah, we have to look into it further.
Next meeting or until a later date?
Next meeting.
I guess we can revisit it next meeting. I mean, that's a month from now. Maybe maybe the science will change by then and we'll have different feedback on it. So I'll make a motion that we table this discussion on a potential mask mandate to next meeting.
Second that.
1184-254-51.
I'll second Kevin's motion. We'll go to roll call, Arlene.
No,
You don't want to table it?
I do not want to table it.
Kevin,
Yes.
I'm a yes also. Next up, we have the Big Brother, Big Sister donation boxes.
Taylor should be on the call.
Yes,
Taylor?
hi, I'm here.
Okay, there you go, Taylor. It's all yours.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Taylor Millspot. I am the Director of Business Development at CMRK, and I'm going to pre-apologize. I am currently hiding in my closet from my dogs. 'Cause they are not used to me being at home on a call. So if you hear any barks, that's why. So like I said, I work for CMRK. We collect clothing and textiles across Massachusetts in two main ways. We collect clothing from strategically placed donation boxes. We tend to place those on town properties that are being watched, nonprofits, churches, places like that where they're being frequented. Our bins are totally customizable, and we pay 7 cents for every pound of clothing and textiles that we collect out of those bins back to the town. Those are unrestricted funds that can be used any way that you see fit. And then we also collect clothing under Big Brothers Big Sisters. Big Brothers Big Sisters Foundation was around for 25 years. They collected clothing, textiles, and small household items, but then when COVID hit, they were unable to continue the logistics. So we have taken over all of those logistics, and we set up pre-scheduled pickups so people can call, go online, or text us for a free pickup, and we pick those up. We do not pay the town for those pickups, but that does count towards the overall diversion rate. And as you may know, there's a new legislation that's coming down that says in November, no clothing and textiles can go into the waste stream. And we're here really as a resource of collecting those clothing, textiles, and not just those items, but also small household items. We collect, books or pots, pans, plates, things of that nature, and keep those out of the landfill. We also bring, with the new legislation, you're going to be required to put out social media, and I bring that to you. I provide the first of every month, you get a social media post with text and things that you can put on your website. We also provide a monthly and quarterly updates of how much you're collecting and ideas. In the packet that I sent over, I'm not sure if all of you have seen those items, but we can really customize and get that word out there to make it really easy to get textiles out of your waste stream and keep you in compliance. And with our bins being strategically placed, per our contract, we will respond within 1 business day of any instance of dumping. We have a fleet of 25 trucks that run 7 days a week. So we're really lucky in that aspect. And your residents already know about our program. Last year, we visited 343 homes, which we collected 5,888 pounds of clothing and 3,778 pounds of miscellaneous home items. So I know that was a lot of information all at once. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a question about the textiles that you pick up.
Yes.
Can it be old soiled stuff, or is this stuff this is not stuff that's going to go into the stores to be resold? It's going to be recycled?
No, so it's both. We can take items, but they cannot be wet, moldy, or, bloody, things of that nature. Things that are not ready to be, or not good for rewear, those are taken into a couple of ways. So they'll be broken down. So for example, jeans can be reworked into insulation. They also can be used for stuffing. If there's something that's really not great, they cut them up and use them as rags. And then also, say you have a wool sweater, that fibers can be broken down and reworked into new fibrous materials. So we take all kinds of materials, but we really just can't accept the wet, moldy, stained, smelly, garbage kind of things.
So do you just take everything that people leave out and then separate it out?
Yeah, so we are not a grader. So we really, the way that people donate it is how we sell it. But we do have an internal diversion program. So say something comes in obviously wet, that is separated and sold differently.
Okay.
Any other questions?
And
That
some
sounds
of our
pretty good.
some of our suggested locations, obviously, you guys are the expert of your town, but transfer stations are really wonderful locations, senior centers, and public libraries, places where people go often and can really have a sense of pride in the bins. We also are having an online portal. Hopefully in March, it will be coming out where people can go. The representative could let us know that the bin needs to be cleaned up, but we do service our bins at least weekly. And if we see that our bins are getting overflowing more often or something like that, if we need to be there 7 days a week, that's what we'll do.
Any other questions, Taylor?
None here.
No. No, I don't have any more questions for her.
So what kind of action do we need to take from here?
So what the next step would be, I would meet with someone and we could either drive around together and find the best bin locations in your town, or someone else could just go and take that picture. And then the day that we would place the bins, we would just ask that a cone would be placed where our drivers could know exactly where you want the bins to be placed. Also, I can totally customize your bins. I can put your logo, your mission statement on them, and I would send that off to you for approval. And really for us, all we need is about a 2-week lead time to start. And
Are the bins
all of our
all
donations are tax deductible when they donate to our organization.
and are your bins one size?
So we have 3 different sizes. I'm gonna see if I can post a picture of one on here. I'm not really sure how to do that on Zoom, but we have kind of the traditional bins that you might have seen in the past, but then we also have what we call the double. And those are 55 by 55 by 65.
Big.
Yeah, we have
What's
some
the
big,
traditional?
1 second, I can actually look that up. Our other bins, okay, so our 3 sizes of bins are 57 by 55 by 66, 44 by 44 by 75, and 55 by 65 by 75. But I absolutely can send some pictures to the group.
Very good.
I'm sure the size would help determine where we could best place them.
Yeah,
why I
and
was
it doesn't have to be in a parking spot. It could be like above a grassy area. It just needs to be accessible by our trucks.
Okay.
So do we need a motion to accept the services for Big Brother Big Sister?
Yes, you would definitely need a motion.
Yeah, because it's going to be sort of a contract.
Right.
Yes, and I have an MOU that we would sign that states that we'll pay the 7 cents per pound, that will service the bin regularly, that will keep it clean and concise, and it just really spells out our whole partnership.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm going to make a motion that we enter into a memorandum of understanding with them to place bins, a bin or bins in the town of Hanson at sites to be determined.
I'll second that motion.
Who's going to determine the site?
Well, we already have the transfer station, right?
Yes. Yep, we do have something at the transfer station.
And
Yep.
the other question would be, could we do the library senior center if there's space available there? Because it's highly traveled. I couldn't think of any other places.
Yeah, I can ask Mary
Should we
Collins about.
ratify locations at the next meeting? maybe get some proposed locations in the meantime, and we can ratify and approve
He
those
probably
locations
wants to
next
put
meeting.
these bins out as soon as possible.
Well, if we don't know where they're going, how are they gonna put them out as soon as possible?
Well, we know the transfer station. We can replace bins that we have existing. We already know there's one at Indian Head.
Are we
That's
gonna
not
be able to
ours,
get those
but
picked? Are we gonna be able to get those picked up that quick?
it depends on I can't answer that, but I know in a month's time we'd be able to get it picked up. I don't
And
want to hold her up from being able to place them.
And
Go ahead,
typically
Teresa.
what we do, we place the bins right when we have our partnership so that you don't have a gap in service. So
Okay.
we like to place our bins before the others are removed.
Okay.
So would it be fair to say replace at existing locations and new locations to be determined?
Yes.
That sounds good.
At locations that are currently served by another provider, and then, additional locations to be determined at a later date? Arlene?
Yeah, if that's what you want your motion to be, then.
Well, I just
then
think we
do
should be
that.
more specific than just saying, if we're gonna determine locations later, what are they gonna be? I think we need to, discuss that. Is it only gonna be
Only other-
locations on town-owned property also?
W-
Is that what we're doing?
One would be the senior center or library. We would have to get permission for that. The transfer
Mhm.
station, we don't. And so that was the only other place that I would consider would have been the library. But again, we'd have to get permission to place a bin there. So that would take
No,
time.
I fully support it. I just want it to be a little more specific so we know what's going on, that's all. I don't want to have it just kind of an open-ended motion, that's all,
And then also to add on, if you do have at your transfer station any books, we can take those books free of charge. And then we also, if you have a swap shop, can take any of those household items, again, free of charge.
Okay, we don't have a swap shop. We do have a book bin.
Okay. So we can take those free of charge.
Okay, so do you want to clarify your motion?
Evan?
Yeah, so I guess I'll make a motion to approve services at locations that are currently being served by our prior provider, and then new additional locations to be determined and approved at our next meeting, I guess.
Sound good?
So I guess I made a motion and now Kevin's making a motion. So I think we need to. Is there any way? I'm sorry. Is there any way to cut that noise in the background, Eric?
Just muted it. Whoever's in here's iPad will have to unmute when the time is appropriate.
Thank you. I think I'm not sure if what Kevin was doing was modifying the motion that I made. So I guess
You can modify your motion, Eileen. All I want to do is I want to know, I want us to just be clear on where these are going, that's all. I have no problem where the existing locations are that we currently have, but just any additional locations prior to, we can ratify it at the next meeting. I don't see an issue with it. I'm just saying, I just think it should be, so we're not creating open meeting law violations. We're not doing anything wrong. It's board decisions that we're making where these things are going. That it's not just, who's going to make the decision in the interim? Is it going to be you? Is it going to be Gil? I mean, if we're going to be determined and it's prior to our next meeting, so what happens in between? That's all I'm saying is someone's going to have to make that decision, and it's supposed to be a board making this decision, correct?
Yes.
Well, we could make the decision, and we could say in that decision that we would allow Gil to look at whether or not we could place one at the library and what steps have to be taken. It wouldn't have to wait a month to talk about that.
Right, but I think it sounds to me like it's going to take a month to figure out additional. That's what I'm saying. Additional locations, ones that we already have bins at, that we're going to get rid of the old provider and we have a new provider now. I have no issue with replacing those, swapping those out. But what I'm saying, additional locations, I think we need to figure out what suits those best and possibly discuss that at the next meeting to ratify and approve additional locations. That's all I'm saying. If not,
fine.
there's nothing in the interim. I mean,
The
who's
only
going to
other
make that
site
call
that
as
we're-
to whether it's okay?
The only other site we're talking about is the library senior center. So it's not like anybody's riding around looking for other sites. That would be the only other site that we would be looking for.
So it's existing locations and pending library approval. Would that be it? That we
It would
can
be
put one
pending-
there as well.
It would be pending, I think the Board of Selectmen would have to give us the ability to put it on town property, but pending approval for placement at the library, yes. I'm good with
Then I'm
that.
fine with that. So existing locations and then pending final approval to put an additional one at the library. So
Yeah.
if you want to make a motion that, I'm perfectly fine with that. I just don't want to leave it open-ended that, we're going to have all these things popping up around town and who's making the decision on yay or nay on a good location.
That was not the case. Not the case.
That's all I
So,
was asking,
are you-
was just to be a little more specific. That's all. That sounds good to me if you
Okay.
want to propose it that way.
Do you want to second the motion then?
I'll second the
Teresa,
motion
you
if
can-
it's proposed that way.
Okay. Teresa?
Yes. I'm
Can you make
feverish
that-
typing, yes.
I know. So can you put all of that together? And poor Taylor's being held hostage. Can you just
Well,
add that?
I'm very happy to be part of this team. So
You say that now. No, I'm kidding.
I know it. Can you just add that then to my motion?
Yes,
That we
yes,
can
yes,
for-
that's exactly what I'm.
All right, thank you.
And we'll go to vote on the motion. Arlene,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
and I'm a yes also. Thank you very much, Taylor.
thank you so much. And I'll send that MOU over right now.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. And I look forward to diverting a lot of clothing and textiles out of the landfill
Wonderful.
and
Thank you.
making some money too.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
Next up, we have septic plans, and the first one upward is 620 McQuon Street. Mr. Collins.
Good evening. Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. My name is Peter Lyons. I work with George Collins of Collins Engineering Group. So I would be representing the homeowner for this project. You want me to jump right into it, tell you what we got going on?
Yes, please.
Okay. Is there any benefit to me sharing the plan, or are most of us phoning in?
I have
Actually,
it pulled up on my screen already, but
Yeah.
it's up to you guys.
We have access to the plan, so.
Okay. All right, I'll just discuss it, I guess. And basically, it's a pretty straightforward residential septic system repair. It's an existing 4-bedroom home on McQuon Street. It's a failed system relative to a Title V inspection. So a couple things going on the site. We have some wetlands out back, so the location we could put it is somewhat limited. We encountered relatively high groundwater out here, about 4.5 feet down. We were able to find a nice sandy material, so it's a pretty simple pipe and stone gravity system design. We're looking for one local upgrade approval request, being the reduction from 5 foot to 4 foot vertical separation to groundwater. The request will allow us to maintain a gravity system and also take a foot out of the proposed mounding of the field. As proposed with the request approval, we're looking at about a 4 foot change in grade over the southern portion of the leaching field. So that'd be closer to 5 feet without the request. This is going to help us prevent shedding water back towards the house and also off towards the abutting property to the south. So that's a quick rundown, and if you guys get any questions. So again, just a 5 to 4 foot water table separation reduction.
Did
Any-
you make the one request requested change that the engineer had asked for?
Peter?
I missed that. Yes, the change has been made. We have a revision date of January 3rd on the plan. I'm not sure exactly where it was, but it was one of our system elevations. I believe in the profile view up top, but that just a minor typo error, and that has been addressed.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No, I don't have any questions. I see a note on here. They're gonna raise the plumbing in the basement, as much as they can. And I mean, they've done everything they can do to design it as a gravity system. They really need the 1 foot reduction. So I don't have an issue with it.
I'll entertain a motion if everyone's satisfied with it.
I'll make a motion to
Go ahead.
approve. I'm gonna make a motion to approve the plan for 620 McQuon Street. Did you have to file a conservation on that?
We did.
Have you got conservation approval?
I believe
All right, well,
it has. I didn't personally go to the meeting. I mean, if we could,
Okay.
conditions.
I'll make a motion to approve the plan for 620 McQuon Street, pending conservation approval.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, Concom already approved it with a blanket permit.
Okay,
Okay.
then
I
I
hear-
will second.
And we'll go to roll call. Arlene?
Yeah.
And Kevin?
Yes.
And I'm a yes also. Thank you, Peter.
All right, thank you very much. Have a good night.
Have a good evening. Next up, we have 23 Gorwin Drive. Mr. Junior,
Dana.
Dana Junior. Is anyone here representing them? No.
He was supposed to be on the call. I talked to him yesterday.
I'm Andrea Campbell. I'm the realtor for the property. Dana is on here. I think he just has to unmute on his iPad.
Okay,
Mute. How's
You got
that? Can you hear me now?
wonderful.
You can.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm Dana Jr. We have a 3-bedroom system repair due to a failed system at 23 Gorwin Drive. A bit of a high groundwater table at 5.5 feet down. We have wetlands out back of the house. The current tank and field are behind the house within 100 feet of the wetlands. We've already gotten a blanket permit approval from conservation to do this. And we are going to replace the 1,000-gallon tank with a 1,500-gallon tank. That goes to a pump chamber behind the house. And it gets pumped around to the right front of the house, closer to the road, where the 45 chamber field is outside of 100 feet from the wetlands. So it is a pump system that pumps from the back of the house around to the side front of the house. There are very little grade changes within a foot. It'll be within a foot of original grade at one end, and at the closer end of the street, there's no grade changes. The existing leaching field out behind the house will just simply be abandoned.
Any questions for Mr. Junior?
I would ask if he's addressed all of the notations that the engineer made.
Yes, I have. I put in a revised plan, which you should have now. So all those should be addressed, yes.
Okay.
And they do have a blanket permit with conservation, so that's all set as well.
Yep.
If
I
no
don't
one,
have more questions.
I'll entertain a motion.
There,
I'll make a
I did
motion.
ask, excuse me, I did ask for one variance as far as we had to do a sieve test. So that's the one variance on the plan. I'm sorry to add that.
I'll make a motion that we accept the plan for 23 Gorwin Drive.
I'll second that motion.
We'll go to roll call. Arlene?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
I'm a yes also. Thank you, Mr. Junior.
Great. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Have a good evening.
You too. Bye.
Thank you all.
Well, where am I now? Next up, old unfinished business. Should we go right to an agent's report?
Sure.
Gil, you ready for us?
Yeah, hang on.
I think we're pretty much covered the agent's report. I mean, we do have some issues going on, but,
Gil, I had one question. I know in Whitman, service and restaurants and such are required to wear masks. Do we have anything like that in place?
no, we don't.
Yeah.
Oh, that's, no, we don't have that in place.
Yeah.
That's, by, the companies are requiring that.
Yeah.
Businesses themselves requiring their, employees to wear masks.
I believe in Whitman, I think it was from the Board of Health that the servers are required to wear them.
I thought Jill said they were talking about that today.
Yes,
If
they
you
were
haven't
talking
heard.
about that stuff today. The Board of Health had a meeting this morning. I haven't really received what they actually discussed, if they even made any decisions yet. So this, like I said before, all the towns around there, they're having these same discussions, and the only one that's really moved forward with something harsh. Was the town of Plymouth mandating the mask in all public places?
Yeah.
In the town of Plymouth, they have what they call mask police down there. They have people walking around the tourists making sure they wear masks. I mean, it worked out last year for them. I guess they're doing it again this year, so.
Well. Yeah, that
That's
was
about it. I mean, we do have, the normal complaints, here and there. The biggest thing is, people complain about the service, which, we've got nothing to do with that. We don't control that. I mean, the restaurants and stuff, they're limited with people. So their hours are cut, maybe the service is not great. Found no actual violations as far as, food violations or anything like that, and telling people the restaurant's gotta stay cleaner and, always keep that in mind, clean all the time, because that's what stops the spread of this stuff, helps stop the spread of this stuff, so.
Yeah.
Jill, did we ever hire a tracer?
Oh, yes, we have a contact tracer. She has been working for a couple weeks now. She's all certified. She's got clearance through Maven and everything. She is, tracing as a vendor. She's doing quite well, hopefully getting it all put together, getting all our backlog cleared up, working with, they call it Maven Researcher. He's helped her along quite a bit, so hopefully, it'll work out quite well.
Have we heard anything from the schools? Are they
no.
thinking of instituting any policies that we haven't heard of yet, or?
Not as of yet. I mean, the schools are being inundated, this home testing and that stuff is taken off, but, we know the state doesn't recognize that, but, a lot of people are home testing and, expecting to get guidance from us, but, the state does not accept home testing, so.
Did we get a call in the office the other day from the high school? How many new cases were there up there?
You hear that, Dave? That was 30 new cases, but, looking into that one day, I mean, they were kind of frustrated up there, but a lot of those testing are home tests. And I think once we looked into the Maven, I think we only had like 4 people total that actually came through Maven.
Okay.
There were new
Hopefully,
guidelines that came out
our
today.
contact tracer, she's getting, involved in everything in a few more days, and we should have control of what we were behind and what we should be doing, so.
Gil, you weren't on the call today, were you? The 3 o'clock call?
No, I wasn't. I know, they were talking about, separating the reports and stuff from adults to child.
And they were talking about Jesse and the 3 different situations and what some school districts were doing, and they were picking 1 of 3 options of what they could do or doing all 3. So that's all changed. So you might have to look at that again.
Yeah, I know that.
They just had an update today.
The stuff, the Maven stuff is changing too, as far as adults and child and stuff, so, you know, she's on top of that stuff. That's changing this week too, I believe.
Yep.
So I haven't seen anything new from the DESI stuff that they're talking about.
Yeah, that's just today. They just did something this morning, and we talked about it this afternoon on the call. So that should be coming out.
Yeah, I know
If I get
everybody's
information.
bouncing around back and forth, you know. My opinion is that the governor is not gonna do anything. He's, you know, it's, leaving it up to the local authorities, you know. He made that pretty clear when he eliminated the CTC, you know, and stuffed everything to the town, so.
Any
That's
other,
about it. And we're on top of everything. I think we're not really losing much of anything. We answer all the complaints and answer all the questions that people are asking. I would say that is about it. Yeah, that's
Any-
all I have to say.
oh.
Go ahead.
I said, any questions for Gil?
No.
I'm here.
Any questions for Gil, Kevin? No?
Nope, I don't have any.
If not, I think we'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second that, this is Kevin.
And we'll go to roll call. Arlene?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm a yes also. Thank you very much. Have a good evening, everybody.